Me and Karen, a love story, posted by unique username 504. Just kidding, Karen is a total witch, but buckle up because here is my novel. My husband and I are in our late 30s and child-free. Some people on child-free said I should post here too, so enjoy the saga. My husband and I had been saving up for almost a decade to move to a tropical paradise. About 2 years ago, we bit the bullet and moved to our dream location. Housing here is super expensive, like Hawaii prices, so all we could afford was half of a duplex. It is beautiful and on the water with places for our boat. Unfortunately, Karen, Billy Bob, the boyfriend, and her 3 gremlins live in the other unit. Set up. There is some period of time we just went for a week here and there, but we live here full time now. The entire duplex was owned by an older gentleman who rented out both sides. The sides do not match at all. One side is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. The other side of the duplex is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. We bought the 5-bedroom. On our side of the property, we have 90% of the backyard, a gazebo, and dockage, about 150 feet since it is on a corner. The other side has a small backyard, patio, and maybe 15 feet of dockage. The rental leases say the renters are entitled to their specific backyards, but there were no fences or anything, so all the renters shared the entire backyard. After we bought the house, Karen immediately tried to throw her weight around that they expected to continue with that privilege. I told her if she asked politely, we would try to accommodate her. She thought this meant she could use our backyard whenever she wanted. Party incident. One day, my husband and I are enjoying some drinks outside when a delivery truck shows to set up a giant blow-up thing in our backyard. I asked Karen what the heck she thought she was doing, and she said it was her kid's birthday. Then she had the gall to say it was a family and friends only event, so we had to stay inside our house. Not wanting to be a total a-hole and ruin some little girl's birthday, I told Karen after this she had no access to our backyard, period. Karen shrugged and kept setting up for the party. During the party, a drunk adult wandered into our house, which shocked us all. I said, Karen's house is the other side, and he said, oh, Karen said she owned the whole property and to use whichever bathroom was available. I directed him to Karen's bathroom, and soon after, she came storming into our house, screaming about how dare we make her look bad to her friends, and how selfish we are we couldn't even spare one bathroom. She said we didn't deserve all this space with just us. I told Karen to get the heck out of my house or I would be calling the cops. She finally left and the party wrapped up shortly after. The backyard remodel. After the party incident, we decided we need to clearly define the backyard and build a fence. While we were spending the money, we decided to update the patio, put in a fire pit, and an outdoor kitchen. While the contractor was on site, nosy Karen had to come investigate. Since the fence would be the last thing built, I was vague and just stuck to telling her about the patio update. You could see her face light up because, of course, in her mind, what's ours is hers. When the workers started on the fence, Karen came out screaming for the work to stop. I went outside and told the workers to keep working and told Karen to butt out. Of course, in true Karen fashion, she called the cops. What happened next was hilarity on my part after explaining to the cop that we were building a fence on our property and the landlord, of which Karen was not, knew about it. When the cop gave Karen a stern lecture, I thought her head was going to explode. She went back into her house and slammed the sliding door so hard it sounded like something cracked. We got our fence and I thought that would be it in the end, but of course not. The boat incident. One day, Billy Bob entered the picture, and he was as much a terrible neighbor as Karen. He would throw cigarette butts and empty beer cans over our fence for, quote, disrespecting his woman. I didn't know Paradise had trailer trash, but Billy Bob is the epitome of that stereotype. Billy Bob has a boat, a 30-foot fishing boat to be precise, and of course, that side of the duplex only has 15 feet of dockage. Since we have so much dockage and only one boat, we rent out the other dockage spots as month to month. People come and go, so if we don't receive rent from them by the end of the month and the boat disappears, well, we think nothing of it. We had a renter who tied up their boat on the property line, but Billy Bob wanted to park his boat and needed that space. Karen and Billy Bob posed as us because we were out of town and told the renters to be gone at the end of the month and then park Billy Bob's boat on the dockage. I only found out about it weeks later because the renter left a nasty review on the rental site we use. They said we were rude and went back on the verbal agreement to let them stay for 3 more months. I was like, what the heck is all of this? After a phone call, I quickly put 2 and 2 together. I called the cops, who told Karen and Billy Bob they need to move their boat or it would be towed, well, the equivalent of it anyway. Karen and Billy Bob started screaming that the boat is fully on their property, it isn't, and then changed to no one can own the water, true but a seawall is deeded, that we are liars, and at some point Billy Bob punched a cop and went to jail. I felt bad for the cops, so I took them all snacks the next day with a note apologizing for the neighbor drama. I ended up winning my small claim suit against them for lost rental income, but of course I haven't seen a dime. I eventually convinced the dockage renters to come back and gave them a few months free as compensation. Final revenge. If you made it this far, congratulations. Get ready for juicy justice. So, with the collapsing market, we were trying to figure out what to do with our savings when a perfect opportunity opened up. The landlord who owned both properties was in desperate need of some cash, and he was tired of managing the property from 2,000 miles away, because of course Karen is a Karen, and called him weekly for every little thing. His only stipulation was that we let the poor single mom who has been his renter for 8 years finish her lease, which is up in July. Since we just have money we were trying to reinvest, and because now we get to control our neighbors, heck yeah, we jumped on that. Since we didn't need a realtor or a mortgage, and an inspection had been done just a year ago for the old landlord to refinance, everything closed in just under 2 weeks. Karen was aware of a change of ownership. We registered the property under an LLC, but she didn't know who until 8 days ago. I went over to Karen's house and knocked on the door. Karen answered with a, "What the heck do you want, jerk?" I smiled, handed her our landlord information, and sweetly reminded her rent was due by Friday, but she could just hand me the check if that was easier. I've always heard descriptions of people's faces turning white, but this was the first time I've actually seen it. I told Karen that we are honoring her lease until the end of July, but afterwards she had better make plans to move because we intend to remodel it before these next tenants move in. By which, edit. A lot of people misunderstood the beginning. Let's call our side of the duplex Duplex OP, and the other duplex is Duplex Karen. We purchased Duplex OP. After we bought it, Duplex OP was no longer a rental. Both Duplex OP and Karen were for sale independently, but we only had the money to buy Duplex OP. Duplex Karen is still a rental because it has never sold. Now we own both Duplex OP and Karen. Now, Duplex Karen is still a rental, and OP is still not a rental. When we made property improvements to OP, it was ours and not a rental. Update number 1. Not much to update, folks. Karen and the family's lease isn't up until the end of July. Rent has been paid on time. As far as I know, she doesn't have a new place lined up. We served her 30-day notice and we will not be renewing the lease. We also offered in writing that we will prorate July and waive the termination fee if they want to leave before the end of the lease. Beyond the near weekly loud parties and having to call the police because the kids were throwing lit fireworks at our boat, not much beyond the norm. Update number 2, August 2020. Long story short, Karen and the family is still in the place and not paying any rent. They were served with eviction, but due to the pandemic stuff, we can't actually do anything about it. At least Karen and Billy Bob had a giant fight, which ended up in him being arrested and he hasn't returned. I've been told by our lawyer, once some laws are changed or removed in September, we can have the police escort them off the property that day, since we've already filed the eviction. It's just a crap show right now. Karen is being extra smug. She tried to push her bounds and kept coming over to our property. A talk with the cops set her straight, but she's playing music loud and just tossing her trash everywhere. We really wanted to move our elderly parents in after a quick remodel because Dad needs shoulder surgery badly and Mom now needs a walker. They need more care and it's getting harder driving 2 hours a day to do that. Our parents want their own space though, and they won't live on our side with us. My husband and I are trying not to be angry and make things worse with Karen, but we are both exhausted. Things just suck. Update number 3, December 2020. Life is weird. Karen is still here. Since we couldn't evict her, my partner went to stay with their parents for a few months so the in-laws could get the surgery and care that they needed. They're doing better now, which is great. Here's the weird part though. In October, Karen's mother, Susan, came to live with her since Susan's landlord chose not to renew her lease. Susan is an angel. Susan was mortified at Karen's and the kids' behavior. Susan is a tough one and has been cleaning house, both figuratively and literally. The kids are so much better behaved, and Karen stomps around like a sullen child. Susan and I share drinks every few days in the backyard. We bake together too every weekend. For Thanksgiving and Christmas, since no one was traveling for the holidays, we made a big feast and set it up outside with some backyard games. It was a great time, and even Karen was being pleasant. I tried to tell Susan not to worry about rent until they find another place, but she insisted on paying. I lied about how much the rent was, so it's only a half payment, but it just covers the taxes and insurance. We drew up another lease that's month to month. Susan wants to move back home at some point and take her daughter with her. Karen, I think, is ready for a change too, but obviously with the pandemic, it might take some time. It's pretty pleasant right now though, so I'm in no hurry for them to leave. Wow, I did not expect that ending with the updates. I thought we had Colossal Karen over here, and then Susan comes in, she's not Karen 2.0, she's awesome. And then Karen gets pleasant and gets ready to leave? Hey, OP, I hope that everything works out for you because they look like they're on their way out of here. After months of putting up with my roommate from hell, I got the revenge of a lifetime and screwed her over out of a ton of money and got her to pay rent, and life has never been sweeter. Posted by Let the Right One In. This story takes place a couple of years back. During college, I lived with several roommates. All of them were nice and we got along well. Except for this one witch, let's call her Karen. If Satan and Hitler had a child, and that child had a child with Stalin and Cruella de Vil, well, that'd be Karen for you. She is a loud-mouthed, stupid, egocentric witch who has a face that scares the crap out of a toilet. She would never clean up after herself. She would always leave her plates and things at the spot where she last used them. I have lost counts of how many times I caught her stealing my clothes without asking. And if you so much as touch her clothes, she loses her crap on you. Or her drinking our lactose-intolerant roommate's almond milk, and anytime we confronted her for drinking it, she would shrug and say, "I only had a sip. Stop being so stingy." She plays her music loud at night, invites strangers without giving any heads up, and a time or two, she didn't pay rent even though her parents are filthy rich, and she's wearing Gucci and Prada stuff. Karen also lies about everything, even things that are not worth lying about. Like if she woke up at 7 and you ask her, she'll lie through her teeth and say she rose when the sun rose because she's a natural. P.S. This is actually something I heard her say to her parents while she was Skyping them. So cringy, but who says that? But I digress. Months we have put up with her. But of course, we tried to get other roommates, but unfortunately, when we all moved in and everything, all the documents and contracts were done in her name, so kicking her out would require a lot of effort, and most of us were busy with school and work when life happens. So we ignore it as much as we can and try to move on. We are all now seniors and in our final semesters, meaning graduation was coming, and Karen is planning a backpack trip across Europe with her friends as a graduation gift to herself. This is important, so remember this. One of our roommates and my closest friend, Sasha, had a crush on a guy that lives down the hall. Anytime the two of them are together, Sasha and the guy keep giving each other googly eyes and blushing faces. It was so cute. Sasha is a verbal autistic person and has never dated anyone because she has a hard time with socializing and understanding social cues and subtlety, which, let's face it, that is the core of dating, especially flirting. But with a lot of encouragement from me and the final roommate, Lola, we got her to ask him out. He said yes. She was so happy, you guys. She flew back into the apartment and did an hour of a happy dance with her arms flailing about and a crap-eating grin on her face. Needless to say, we were all so happy. Karen caught wind of this, and it just so happens at that time she was having relationship problems. I guess her boyfriend finally realized he's dating human garbage. Not one to be outshined, Karen, behind all of our backs, went to the guy's place and spun lies about Sasha, saying she is a serial cheater and even made a fake account for Sasha's so-called boyfriend. The guy never called Sasha, and eventually, weeks passed by and he told us why, but by then, Sasha felt like the damage was done and lost interest in him. I was freaking furious. This level of jerk and bloody pettiness is the straw that finally broke the camel's back, and I vowed I wouldn't leave until I served my slice of justice. Here's another character that you must know about, Professor C. His wife, 2 years ago, was in a horrible car accident and, as a result, is in a wheelchair. This is especially problematic because she was a stay-at-home mom that took care of their 2 special needs kids, and they have a toddler at home. Home life is a mess for him. I mean, he's running ragged between working and single-handedly is taking care of the family. The university took pity and also feared that the workload would see one of their best and most beloved teachers leave the school. So they struck a deal with him to help him out. In all of his classes, there will be quizzes and midterms. This doesn't change. But assignments that you submit and that he corrects at the end of the year, this is important because our university has a zero tolerance on professors that don't constantly update the students' coursework so that the students have a chance to improve their grades. Karen, the lazy and stupid witch she is somehow skating through his assignments, even though they require a ton of research and writing. I accidentally learned that one of her older friends told her that she only needs to submit the paper on its due date and to only write the first 3 pages and use a paraphrase tool for the rest of the paper, so the plagiarism software won't detect it and would think it's original material. And when the end of the year comes, submit a hard copy, but with the first pages being her actual work and the rest being completely plagiarized professional work. Professor C won't know because the likelihood a man as busy as him thoroughly checking the work of 120 plus students is pretty low. I grinned. A plan was beginning to formulate in my head. Oh, sweet mother, she is going down. All semester long, I let her do this for all of the 7 papers, one of them which is a term paper that has 20% on it alone. All the while, I spied and gathered all of her passcodes, social media, her student ID, everything. The end of the year came, and I compiled all of her assignments, both the original one with the paraphrasing tools that she used to circumvent plagiarism, and the one that she finally handed in. And I even made photos of side-to-side comparisons of the assignments. This is a good start, but not enough. So, one day, I was chilling at the living room, I opened a conversation about relationships. Karen is two-timing her new boyfriend and is sleeping with some other person. So, I asked her questions like, "Don't you feel guilty for cheating?" And "You do realize this is wrong." Now, I even paraphrase my words in a way that is vague, but also clear. For example, I would say, "It's not fair. So many people work so hard every day to be successful, and you're here cheating and lying your way to success." Karen, narcissistic as heck, would respond with snippets of, "I don't care," and how she isn't cheating, she's only having fun, and that everyone does it, so why not her too? This is too good to be true. Even her answers are vague. It's like God put his hand on my shoulder, looked me right in the eyes, and said, "Bury her." And I'd be darned if I didn't. As you probably guessed it by now, I was recording everything. The recording, plus the photos and her assignments, were more than enough evidence. I sent an anonymous email to the professor, and I tell the girls so that they can prep for the crap storm that's coming. 3 weeks later, results are out. She failed and lost her crap. She was screaming, crying, wailing. What a sight to see. You best believe that the girls and I were laughing. She tried to talk to the professor, but he was not having it. She cried and begged for a second chance, but he said a hard no. So now she has 2 options. She goes ahead and doesn't graduate with us and takes on a whole nother semester for one measly course, or takes summer school and cancel her trip to Europe, which, mind you, she spent a ton on, something like $13,000. And I know it could have been much cheaper, but Princess Karen only wanted the best. The next couple of weeks, she spent sleepless nights because she was calling and canceling all the reservations she made, trying to get her money back, but being really out for blood that day because the cancellation was so close to some of her trip, most places refused to refund, or some charged her cancellation fees. She only managed to scrap $5.5K, $5,500 back together, losing $7,500. Ouch. It's not over. Having evidence that I, with earned gusto, told her that she was going to pay back all of the bills till we moved out, which was in 2 months, pay back for all the time she was late on payment or defaulted, and she would, from now on, do her part of the house chores, or else I'm going to send it all to the admin and the faculty dean, and she will for sure be kicked out, and all those university years will have been for nothing. She hated it. She threw tantrums and cussed me out, but my goodness if she didn't do what she's told. She cleaned her stuff, apologized to Sasha for what she did, and I forced her to come clean to her boyfriend. I don't know the guy, but the few times I met him, he was super sweet to us, and I felt bad for the guy. I watched her actually do the dishes, for the first time in like years. It was amazing, and I don't regret it one bit. In fact, anytime I feel sad now as an adult, I kick back my feet and reminisce, and a slow crap-eating grin draws itself upon my face. It just goes to show, you gotta respect people and be fair in your academics, because if you cheat in school, they will absolutely come down on you for that. Especially in a situation like this. Comment the secret phrase below, Karen got schooled, and be sure to watch another video here. I'm Austin, thanks for watching.